Watching Jackass, and I always was worried that they were gonna hurt themselves, but I also watched the Finnish version of Jackass. I forget what it was called. What was it called? The Dudesons! Yeah, I watched that too. That show too was awesome. I love the Dudesons, especially the really early ones where they're just out in the middle of fucking nowhere in their cabin. That was really good. Okay. 3, 2, 1, boom. Welcome, Mr. Big Tugg. Let's do it.
Hello, children. Hello. Welcome to the fantabulous world of Extra Tugg, full of educational and children-friendly content. That's definitely what this is, so come on in. It's only $4 a month, and it's a lot of fun perks. Chris, why would you put that on the screen? You're ruining it. You're ruining it.
King Spotlight, furries. Big Tugg, are you not telling us something?
It for everybody. It's hard to explain to somebody who wasn't raised in the early 2000s that how important Jackass was to the culture. I remember when this came out, I thought to myself, man, like, we are forever past the moment of, like, being afraid to do things on TV or being afraid to be, like, not Christian. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I look back at, like, the 1950s where they were sock hopping, like, those images of them at dances, and I thought, that's over. That's never gonna happen. And then I didn't realize the cyclical nature of humanity and how we're going back to that. But it's important. Jackass is an important moment in history. By combining the DIY spirit of skating culture with the Y2K's thirst for extreme content, Jackass became an unlikely cultural phenomenon. Its blend of daredevil stunts and sophomoric pranks had absolutely no business airing on TV, let alone becoming an era-defining franchise. Yeah. But here's the thing about America: we're nasty. We like being gross a little bit.
I do think that Jackass had more of an impact on American culture, but even though Jackass was played in other countries, for sure, it wasn't as effective, you know.
It raw. We've liked it raw since 1994 when Toy Story came out. I might have gotten that year wrong. Jackass delivered that rawness with a heavy dose of danger, charisma, and morbid curiosity. Just listen to these batshit insane episode descriptions pulled from a family-friendly streaming service, Paramount Plus. Season 4, Episode 5. The Kais face off in the horse manure joust. Johnny wets the bed while mattress shopping, and Steve-O goes snorkeling with bloodthirsty sharks and becomes a human urinal.
I beg your pardon?
Just watch this. You can just turn on the TV and watch whatever the hell I'm talking about. From depraved stunts on film to actual death threats in real life, Jackass was obviously too insane to last. But despite that, we're still talking about it. People still remember it to this day, and I thought it was worth breaking down the entire history of how this came to be, how this psychotic tumor on American culture came to metastasize.
Drugs. A lot of drugs. Have you seen or heard Steve-O talk? That guy's completely sober now for like X amount of time. That guy was blasted all the time doing shit.
But before we start, I want it to be said, don't try any of this shit at home. There's a reason why they put the skull and crossbones in front of it. And even as a kid, I realized this was not good because I wanted to try every single one of the stunts on the TV. There's a reason people protested these movies. But regardless, by the late 90s, skate magazines and videos had created their own ecosystem. Yes. Now, I want to preface, I'm not a skater. I had little skate punk friends. I never learned how to do it because it was hard and I'm lazy, but I'm a big fan of skate culture. I believe that the term for that is poser. I'm a pretty big poser, but I love the vibe. And for a lot of kids in the 90s, the only exposure you would have to skateboarding was the skate tapes. Watching a skate tape at someone else's house was like a precursor to watching a fucked up video on the internet on your family computer with all your friends. Like,
yeah, maybe not to the extent of like, you know, an execution or something, but yeah, I get the vibe. Yeah, it's like exclusive and like nobody's supposed to watch it, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Watching some beheading videos, that was skate tapes in the 90s. For a lot of kids, the videos weren't about skating at all. It was more about the vibe.
What was written on his shirt? Where? Which shirt? Which shirt? I didn't see it.
Video on the internet and on your family computer with all your friends. Like watching some beheading videos, that was skate tapes in the 90s. For a lot of kids, the videos weren't about skating at all. It was more...
Sorry, I'm curious.
But regardless, by the late 90s, skate magazines...
It doesn't say it on the shirt. Okay, you guys are baiting me. You guys are baiting me 100%.
For a lot of kids, the videos weren't about skating at all. It was more about the vibes of the tapes, which always had a cool soundtrack, skits, and a punkish anti-authoritarian feel. Skating and hating the cops go hand in hand, because cops don't want you to skate on the streets, and what, f you, I'm gonna skate, and that was just the vibe of it. And because of this attitude, skate magazines also used the same vibe in their print. Photography was also incredible. It had to be in order to capture the dynamic, fast-paced action of skateboarding. And
wide-angle lenses. Look at them! They're wearing safety! Except on their head. That's why they're so dented.
Between the photo essays of skate trips and mind-blowing tricks, there would also be articles about culture that shared the same edgy, irreverent attitude.
Okay.
But even in the world of skate magazines, the magazine Big Brother was an anomaly. Do you guys know about Big Brother magazine?
No.
I've been trying to buy Big Brother authentic vintage merch, and you just can't buy it because they must have burned all of this shit. Big Brother magazine was known for its taboo...
Holy Jesus. If I was a teenage boy, I would lose my marbles. When did this come out? 1995 or some shit? Mamma mia! Dude, if I was a little fucking kid, I'd just jork. I'd just jork my shit.
Boundary pushing content. One of their earliest articles gave step-by-step instructions on how to
I was close.
String up a rope and end it. I'm trying to find a good way. Unalive yourself. Like, it was a joke, and they thought it was really funny to be that edgy. Not that funny nowadays, but like that was big humor in the 90s. Now let's jump cut to Johnny Knoxville, who was in LA at the same time as Big Brother magazine is kicking off. Johnny Knoxville was trying to be an actor, and it was not working out for him, and he literally needed money. So how are you gonna do that? Well, he had a great idea to write an article about self-defense equipment, and he thought a great way to write this article would be to test every piece of self-defense equipment. And he did this by pepper spraying himself, tasing himself, and shooting himself in the chest while wearing a bulletproof vest.
Okay. Fillion? Fillion doesn't shoot herself on stream. That's terrible. You guys
and who's gonna publish that besides Big Brother? But according to Knoxville, everyone seemed to like the idea, but he couldn't get any of them to pay in advance for the equipment. So I understand why this was a hard sell, because he was like, I'm gonna write this article for you, but first you have to pay for my pepper spray and bulletproof vest. And also you need to let me buy a 38 caliber pistol. And I'm gonna shoot myself with that. Woo! So whenever you guys are ready, just send me the check. But of course, Big Brother was willing to do it, and they wanted a video to go along with the article. When editor and now famous person Jeff Tremaine saw the footage, he had his big idea moment. He enlisted the help of his friends and also director Spike Jonze. That's where Spike Jonze came from, by the way. He was editing and directing skate tapes. He made Where the Wild Things Are. What the f? But he got all of his friends and Spike Jonze to make a demo reel to shop around to TV networks.
Where the Wild Things Are is like a kid's movie, too. Like, wow.
A big component of the demo reel he shopped around was Bam Margera. You guys know Bam Margera?
Oh, I thought his name was Bam Margera, not Margera. Wow. It's been like 10 years since I heard that name and just realized.
I would love to have him. I wanted to get him for an interview to do this.
I guess his name is
I actually
Bam.
tried. Didn't work out. I don't know how to contact him. But Margera had already appeared in Big Brother magazines as a professional skater, mostly because he started so young and it was very interesting. He was very risky as a child. And that's Bam Margera. But he also had already made several videos that incorporated stunts and tricks with his
Didn't he die in an accident? Is Bam Margera still alive? No, he's fine. He's not dead. Jesus, man. No, he's 45. He's fine, apparently. Yeah.
CKY crew. CKY standing for Camp Blank
Ryan
Yourself.
Dunn.
You can film I can't say it on YouTube, but that was the name of his posse of bandits. Just like how Alexander Graham Bell and Alicia Gray filed patents for the telephone on the same day, Margera and Knoxville had both independently stumbled upon a $1 million idea. Essentially, making a skate video with absolutely zero skating in it. Both MTV and Comedy Central wanted rights to the show, and also SNL was interested in them like doing stunts between the skits on the show. SNL almost had Jackass. Eventually,
the logistics of that is retarded because it's like the stunts are meant to be like really dangerous. Yeah, that would be ruined real fast. I feel like they'd have one incident where someone almost dies and it gets instantly pulled.
MTV won by offering more creative control, and in 2000, the first episode of Jackass aired. And nothing was ever the same, and a lot of people got hurt. It wasn't just an immediate success, Jackass was a cultural force. Just 4 months after Jackass debuted, Knoxville was on the cover of Rolling Stone. Could you imagine? Like, I genuinely, like, there's no TV show that's out right now where you will be on it for 4 months and then get the cover of the Rolling Stone magazine. That's just not possible nowadays. Just looking at the names of the stunts that were performed on this show is a laundry list of insanity, and I'm going to rattle these off for you, and you can go look them up in your spare time. Human barbecue, sexercise.
I've seen that one. I've seen this one. There's no way.
Sexercise bike, butt stapling, toilet ride, bear
The toilet ride is infamous.
wrestling, beard of leeches, prostitute boat race, spermathon.
What?
I just don't know, like, I don't know what switch flipped where you couldn't, like, kiss a black girl on TV and then you could have a spermathon in the same 50-year span. Like,
It's called counterculture. What do you mean? Very easily understood psychological phenomenon. Yeah, counterculture.
I don't know
They
how
went
things switched
crazy.
that fast. Now, while Jackass was a hit, of course, it wasn't without controversy. Copycat viewers, aka kids who wanted to do whatever Johnny Knoxville did, were getting hurt at alarming rates, and
Yeah, no shit, because kids are dumb.
politicians obviously started calling for the show to be banned. Even though MTV had promised creative control in the beginning, they were slowly giving more and more notes to the crew, obviously. And after just 3 years on air, the Jackass crew said, you know what, I feel like we don't need you guys anymore, and they left TV to go to the big screen, because you can eat poop on the big screen, I guess. It doesn't matter anymore. And I don't know if it was a question whether or not the Jackass movie was going to make money, but with a budget of $5 million, they raked in $80 million worldwide.
That's a lot
And
of
now, over
profit.
5 movies in, the Jackass franchise has made over $500 million. And also resulted in a pretty decent video game. And I mean, like, everything after, like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 was pretty much a Jackass video game. But
I cannot believe Tony Hawk, like, was produced by Neversoft and Activision. Back in the day, man, when they actually published good games.
video game. But while the jaw-dropping, eye-catching stunts of Jackass brought in an audience, it was the personalities of the cast members that gave the show its staying power. Unlike other popular reality TV personalities of the era, like Joe Rogan on Fear Factor or Simon Cowell of American Idol, Johnny Knoxville and his crew were not camera-ready, so to speak. They were not flashy. These were legitimately just filthy skaters who happened to be in the right place at the right time. Instead of asking that they polish and refine their act, the show actually leaned into their dog shit appeal. And all that was asked of them is that they were legitimately willing to die every time they filmed. And I don't think that's too much to ask. And they gladly did, and in the process created one of the most memorable casts of outcasts ever assembled for TV. So let's just go, I want to go through, because people, like, you know, Bam Margera and Johnny Knoxville and Ryan Dunn. Let's go through the actual cast and just break down where these people came from and how insane their lives were. Of course, Johnny Knoxville was one of the few cast members who didn't have a background in skateboarding or snowboarding. Instead, like I said, he moved from LA from his native Kentucky to be an actor. He landed a few commercials and was even Keanu Reeves' stand-in in the film Bram Stoker's Dracula, but he wasn't getting enough roles to pay the bills, so he started writing articles. But I will say, he is a handsome fellow. There's you ever, like, you see him in his early movie roles? I'm trying to think of, like, The Ringer. I kind of wanted to Johnny Knoxville. I wanted to.
Yeah, I think he looked like a generic, like, American guy. Yeah. Yeah, he's got that charm. Yeah, he's not ugly.
Be Johnny Knoxville at least. While it took an entire team to pull off Jackass, Knoxville is the obvious leader. Not only was it his insane idea to shoot himself while wearing a bulletproof vest, which kicked off the whole absurd journey, but he just had the vibe of an elder statesman, a real herder of sheep. And although he can be as surly and as depraved as the rest of the crew, he always had an air of like, I got this, guys. Like, I've never seen someone get so hurt and be able to talk through the pain. And in fact, he might have been the most depraved of them all, because he's like kind of credited as coming up with most of the stunts on the show.
He's probably like a little bit of a freaking sadist or something. No, not sadist, sorry, masochist.
Maybe it was just the glasses. Maybe it was just the glasses that fooled me. Anyway, and while he might not have reached the same levels of notoriety as Steve-O or Bam Margera, he came the closest to mainstream stardom. He sustained levels of success that allowed him to age gracefully. Even though in 2008 a motorcycle stunt broke his penis and tore his urethra, causing
Does he have a wife? Oh my god, dude. Dude, that's horrible. That's actually painful. Bro, I'm just trying to imagine, like, a female, like, ripping her parts out. Like, can you imagine the pain? I think I'm gonna throw up, man. That's actually disgusting now that I think about it. Like, the equivalent for a girl. No, pee-pee, I can't relate, but damn.
Him to have to use a catheter for 3 years. And also, there was a stunt that broke his orbital bone, and he sneezed and his eye fell out. But besides...
Oh my lord! I beg your pardon?
That he's doing great. Let's talk about Bam Margera now. I wish
Dude, he's like a freaking corpse.
I could have gotten him to just like say 3 lines. Bam, if someone reaches out to you about me, like I'll pay you $300 just to say something. I don't know. I just want to be involved. To begin, Bam Margera was a fantastic skater. While his street style might not translate into the competitive technical world of skating, it was a unique and eye-catching style nonetheless. That, and he also had a willingness to skate anything. Like, he'd skate a statue. Like, he'd just do shit. And there's a theme that you might be picking up on here, is that anyone in Jackass was willing to do anything, anytime. And also, Bam Margera was pretty cool. Like, he was a teenager who was sponsored by a skate company. If you had a high schooler back in the early 2000s and he was sponsored by a skate company, you're not touching that kid. That's next level clout. As one of the breakout stars of Jackass, he got his own spin-off, Viva La Bam, and became an unlikely celebrity in the 2000s. If you were around during that time, you would remember his influence. In particular, the fact that Bam almost single-handedly kicked off the career of a Finnish goth metal band, Him. Walk into any Hot Topic in the early 2000s and you would see this band's logo on t-shirts everywhere. I originally thought it was Bam Margera's logo, but it was only because Bam was almost exclusively repping the brand shirt all the time. Aside from Mopi Mallrock, he also had a huge influence in skate culture as well. And like I said, he appeared in 8 Tony Hawk video games. The Jackass and Tony Hawk video game collaboration.
That's how I know his name, because I played Tony Hawk on the computers at school. Yeah, and I liked him the most, because his character was good to control. I liked the way his character was programmed. Wow, that's strong. I just had like a fucking brain blast. I was like, how did I know this name? Like, I wasn't into skating. I like wasn't really into like anything in particular. And then it's like, oh, this is the fucking game.
Was big,
yeah,
but unfortunately
really
things happen when you're crazy, and he went down a rabbit hole. Substance abuse, mental health, domestic violence, it would all culminate on Margera. And in 2022, after years of bad behavior, he was eventually fired from the movie Jackass forever. But he lost his best friend, you know, Ryan Dunn. That can f you up. And like, he was a f***ing punk, so wasn't in the best mind space. So I believe in you, Bam. Get it together. Speaking of getting it together, Steve-O. Remember him? Remember where? Look at his teeth now. He's doing good. Chris, put up that selfie Steve-O took while he was duct taped to a billboard. You know, that's beautiful. Sure, he's a lunatic who stapled his butt cheeks together and has his own face tattooed on his back, but he's doing it for us. He is a clown, literally. In the late 90s, Steve-O went to the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College and spent time performing as a clown on the Royal Caribbean cruise ships before Jackass. And also, he went to find the Jackass people. Like, they were out filming and he bum rushed them and said, let me be in your video. Then he jumped off a very high bridge and the Jackass people tried to drive away as fast as possible and get away from this lunatic, and he found them again. And they were like, I guess we can't get rid of this guy. He forced his way into being in Jackass. But like Bam, Steve-O struggled with addiction. And I don't know how bad Bam's addictions were, but holy shit, Steve-O really struggled with addiction. Have you ever seen that picture of him surrounded with nitrous oxide can?
Holy shit, he's putting Kanye to shame. Wow.
Canisters. It's terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Years of cocaine.
Look, no, chat, you don't understand. These cartridges, I think it's 1 or 2 hits, right? 1? You get creepy teeth? Dude, it fucks you up. You get, actual brain damage.
Oxide canisters. It's terrifying. But after years of cocaine and nitrous oxide abuse, Steve-O is now doing well. Yay! He's doing fantastic, actually. Now let's talk about some more sad shit. Ryan Dunn. I mean, we'll talk about Ryan Dunn. It's just such a bummer. He was my favorite guy on Jackass. He acted like a big brother. I don't know how to explain it. He just didn't give a let's talk about Ryan Dunn. In 2011, Ryan Dunn drove his Porsche into a tree at over 130 miles per hour. It burst into flames, killing him and the passenger. The local chief of police called it the worst accident he'd ever seen, saying he'd never seen a car destroyed in an automobile accident the way Ryan Dunn's car was. The talk
my god.
Toxicology report also showed that Ryan Dunn's blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit, which is not ideal. You should never drunk drive. Genuinely, it's a piece of shit move. But like I said, he was a beacon of light on the show Jackass, specifically to Bam Margera, which is where Ryan Dunn came from. The tragedy sent many of the Jackass cast to a dark place, in particular Bam Margera, who had known Dunn since he was 15 years old. And I don't want to come across as disrespectful, but this accident and the darkness that it cast over the Jackass franchise felt like the logical extension of the lifestyle all the cast members had been living. With the slight exception of Knoxville, these cast members were not actors. Jackass isn't for everybody, obviously. It's not even for these guys. But filming a show where you're willing to hang out in a ball pit full of anacondas definitely takes a certain type of performer, and it also required a certain type of viewer. The early 2000s were wild, the people were insane. And if you're the type of person who gets a charge from watching people cheat death on camera, you're probably not the same type of person who takes a lot of interest in disclaimers about safety and shit. So even
I can tell you one really good example of how the public viewed violence, even to the extent of mainstream media, is go watch football between 2000 and 2010. Like actual NHL football. Compared to now, that looks like, this football we have today looks like pussy shit.
Though Jackass explicitly told people not to try this shit at home, people could not stop trying this shit at home.
NFL.
And sadly,
I don't know why I said NHL. Yes, NFL.
Not all of these Steve-O wannabes actually defied death. Now, in fairness to Jackass, they didn't invent the idea of teens around and doing dumb shit. Teens always did that. Even a year before the show debuted, the band Sum 41 created a prank video set to their music to send out to labels, and it helped them get a deal with Island Records. In reality, teenagers were probably getting into trouble with shopping carts since the shopping cart's invention in 1937. But obviously, Jackass wasn't absolved of responsibility, especially when they had a Hollywood director filming them and a major studio promoting their content. I think the biggest issue here was, though, like, this was the era of the home video recording system. You know what I mean? Like, you had camcorders. So, like, not only were you doing this shit for your dumb friends, you were trying to get famous by doing it, and that's where the problem came. It was the cameras. It's that damn phone. And a good example of this is in 2012, when a group of 6 Germans who called themselves the Bavarian Dumbasses tried upping the ante from their usual YouTube videos of jumping off bridges and dripping candle wax into their mouths by filming a high-speed carousel ride for their YouTube channel. The idea was simple. High-octane spinning around on a carousel and playground and puking a bunch. That was what they were going for.
But you can die from that if you spin too much. From what I understand, you can lose all the blood from your center and then you just die and have a heart attack.
They would duct tape their friend to the carousel and attach a rope from it to a BMW, and then they would speed away in the car.
Of course they have a BMW, they're German.
Full throttle, propelling the carousel to unimaginable speeds. Of course, no one accounted for the G-forces of what that duct tape can hold up at when you hit Mach speeds. When the car took off, the duct tape failed to hold the guy in place, and he was thrown nearly 20 feet from the ride and landed headfirst on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna survive that head first. They didn't even put a helmet on him? Damn,
Responders at the scene tried to revive him, but he was dead almost immediately. And the fellow Bavarian dumbasses were taken to the hospital and treated for shock. So, you know, just don't try and be... You're not Johnny Knoxville. You're not Steve-O, you know? Just don't be stupid.
I also think that there's some sort of precaution that they put in, man. I don't know, like, I have seen Jackass perform and they have helmets on their head, even if it's, like, not really, like... But was it fun? I don't know, probably.
It's stupid.
Maybe.
One of the running gags on Jackass was the fact that you could be punched at any time while filming. I hated these because it made me... I was always like, maybe I want to be on Jackass, and then someone comes up and just punches you in the head. I'm like, that's not funny. I just want to film bits. I don't want to get hit when I'm not working. But a group of friends in the UK went way too far in 2014 when their casual violence became just straight up murder. Is murder a prank? No, that was rhetorical. Of course it's not. Usually these fellows would perform Jackass-style games like putting chili powder on their genitals or setting their pubic hair on fire. You know, typical boy stuff. Typical UK Sunday. But after a night of heavy drinking, their horseplay got out of hand. And a 39-year-old, yeah, all these guys were basically in their 40s, was beat to death. Once the group realized that they passed the point of no return and just straight up killed a dude with their bare hands, they did what anyone's bros would do. Chop up the body and throw it in a lake.
Whose idea was that, huh? No, you don't go to the police and say, I'm sorry, it was an accident. No, you have to chop it up and make it look even worse. Tamest UK night out. Jesus.
Casual fun. There's a big difference between Johnny Knoxville taking paintballs off his dinger and Jigsaw using a rusty knife to chop off someone's arms in a bathtub. There's a limit to this kind of roughhousery.
Yeah.
And the court agreed, and 2 men were sentenced to prison. So just don't, that's not even like, I can't believe that's
fair.
even tangentially related to Jackass. Just don't beat the shit your friends to death. God. But the same year in Baltimore, 2 lifelong friends were hanging out in a basement, binging on booze and drugs, and challenging each other to a series of dares. Eventually, the 2 30-year-olds went from boyish dares, like licking a toilet seat, to doing the Johnny Knoxville stunt where you shot yourself in the chest. So you can see where this is going.
Did they not have a bulletproof vest?
The idea was that they would film the stunt like Jackass, go viral, and become stars. So with the camera rolling and the bulletproof vest on, the gunshot missed the vest and hit the victim's upper chest. He was rushed to the hospital, couldn't be revived, took the shot, and died. But it's also goes to show just how dangerous the stunt Johnny Knoxville did, because that could have easily happened to him as well. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it to be a dumbass. But even when it's deadly, imitation is the highest form of flattery. Not only did Jackass inspire legions of copycats to create their own twisted home videos, but they also changed the face of TV. Along with MTV milking Jackass for 3 seasons and unbelievable, unstopping reruns, they also created a ton of spin-offs like Wild Boys, Homewrecker, and Viva La Bam. For a while, you could not turn on the TV without seeing some form of Steve-O or Bam Margera.
There was also other countries doing it legitimately. Yeah, like the Dudesons again.
And it's important to note that this type of show stemmed out to be punk.
Inspired.
It was Practical Jokers. It was Nitro Circus. Like, all of this came from Jackass. And it all
my god, do you want to know what's the funny part? I hated Nitro Circus, but only because the reruns they put on constantly pissed me off. All the time. It was just like 8 hours of Nitro Circus constantly. Like nothing else. And I didn't understand it at all. I watched it like a couple of times and it was just Nitro Circus. I don't know why.
And it also made unlikely stars out of the cast, mostly because Steve-O was on Dancing with the Stars. I remember when that happened. That was insane. Is Dancing with the Stars still on? And when Knoxville appeared on an episode of John Mulaney's Everybody's Live, Mulaney earnestly suggested that Johnny Knoxville changed humor like a few other performers ever have, and that he deserves the Mark Twain Prize for American humor. And I agree. That's like, if you don't know about the Mark Twain Prize, it's like given to like the big dogs of comedy, like Tina Fey, Dave Chappelle, Jon Stewart, like the big boys. And it isn't just John Mulaney who sees the importance and influence of Jackass. Entertainment Weekly named it one of the 100 best shows from 1983 to 2008, part of a list it deemed the new classics. Coming in at number 6, Jackass beat out shows like Mad Men, King of the Hill, and Golden Girls. But it wasn't just the show itself that made it so popular. Part of Jackass's success was the Y2K attitude era. I already made a video touching on some of this stuff, and shameless plug, just go watch that if you want to. But it's worth repeating. The late 90s and early 2000s were all about being extreme. Even traditional children's entertainment like WWE became rebranded as a sexually charged violent show. Just think about this. In 2000, Limp Bizkit had an MTV music video hit with the music for break stuff, which was shot in a skate park and had the lines, "I pack a chainsaw, I'll skin your ass raw, and if my day keeps going this way, I might bake your face tonight." So for Johnny Knoxville and his cast of merry pranksters, it really was the perfect timing. We as Americans love watching people get hurt, and we always have. America's Funniest Home Videos had already been giving us an excuse to laugh at people falling down since—
My family loved this shit, dude. America's Funniest Home Videos was peak.
1989. And as nostalgia for the 2000s becoming fashionable, which makes me want to die, their influence has never been clearer. Just listen to what rapper Little Uzi Vert said about Bam Margera in a Pitchfork interview.
The reason why everybody look the way they look. Bam, man. He the reason why my hat look like this right now, if you want me to be real. Shout out to him.
I love Little Uzi Vert so much. The genius of the show and the reason why it's still celebrated to this day is because it tapped into a fundamentally disturbed part of our nature. Sure, Jackass was a crazy show to see on MTV next to boy band videos, but in today's world of short-form TikToks and YouTube videos, Jackass would fit right in. It was influential, but it was also primal, giving us a raw, edgy version of what every American wants to see.
And now everything's pussified, because, like, all the damn Karens ruined it for everybody.
And destruction. And God bless it, I'm not gonna do any of that shit. I'm gonna sit in my cozy apartment and not hurt myself. So, new videos every Saturday and every other Wednesday. Like, comment, and subscribe. Actually do all those things. Is the notification bell still a thing? You can ring that. I don't know. I've never told anyone to do that. Maybe I should start doing that. And extra Tugg lists. You know what it's all about. $4 a month. You get all the good things. You know, you get a new video every week. You get to get your name at the end of the video. You just support me.
We love Tugg.
We almost afforded as a unit Bam Margera to be in this video. And that's closer than we ever could have gotten. So thank you. I feel like I just won like the lottery. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to almost have Van Margera be on this. It was a lot of talks. I DM'd like 30 people. I just don't know how to contact him. All right, guys, thank you so much.
That sucks. That would have been sick if he had him. That was a fun video though. That was very nostalgic in a lot of ways. My brother loved Jackass. Again, my parents didn't really like me watching it because it was very violent and like, you know, a little girl shouldn't watch that. But when I was growing up and later on, they still did reruns a lot of the time.